He was so fun to have on season 1 and a useful source of information. Back for season 2 and celebrating Women's History Month. Welcome, Julie Laughton. Julie, welcome back. How are you?
Thank you, Mike. I'm very good. I'm having a very busy spring, and I'm so excited this week. It's Women in Construction and Women's Month both. So this is even a better week right now because here it goes. It just started.
You're actually, yeah, I mean, I was going to say you're crushing it, but what's new? So you are literally just, no pun intended, hammering things. And it's neat to see, especially when you post things on social media. But gosh dang, you've been a busy lady. And since we last spoke and had you on for our listeners, you have been on several sponsorship type engagements or events, which is neat to see. And let's talk about some new projects that have popped up since we last spoke. So if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, so the springtime always brings more projects because if we have anything going on, during the winter, the permits start to happen. So I have a new project in Costa Mesa, believe it or not, and I don't work over there that often, but it's like an ocean view off kind of right before the wetlands that's back in this really niche little neighborhood, and it's kind of an on-fire neighborhood. So it's kind of a cool modern house already has a swimming pool, and we're going to put some roof decks on it. So that's kind of fun, and it's refreshing because with all the sort of housing shortage, I'm getting into new neighborhoods that are being reinvented and for all the new people, new homeowners. So that's fun. And then I have my Laguna Beach projects, of course, and then my Balboa Peninsula. My new project is a brand new concrete house, which I don't usually do modern, but that's on the water. And then there's another one I'm doing that's a kind of a farmhouse style that's on the water as well. But I've done 40 houses on the peninsula, so 9 of them are within 2 blocks of each other. So it's kind of funny when I go down there.
Oh, very. You probably have homeowners that are still in those homes that you did, I guess.
The 9 are still there, and they're all friends, and they all drink together and hang out together on the weekends. And I just went to see a bunch of them on Friday, so it was kind of fun. They were all there.
Very cool. That's awesome. So you brought up a good point. So we, per the experts, are at 30-year plus lows regarding inventory of available properties. And it's very tight. And that's also not only an issue to deal with here in Orange County, Southern California, but also nationally. So I think nationally we're down 20%. And wow. Around Orange County, same kind of situation. So having said that, it seems like there are a lot of remodel projects going on, and that is so right in your alley. You are the one-stop expert, custom home builder, remodeler, interior design, all that good stuff. So you just mentioned Costa Mesa. That sounds like a pretty cool project. A remodel kind of gig going on there?
Yep, because the thing is, the house was built like in the 60s, like all of them. And the former owner did a bunch of stuff to kind of butcher it. But it was just literally sold as is. And what you can see in the neighborhood is that 5 or 6 homes already are doing some major remodels. It sort of looks like Corona Del Mar almost. So you can tell the new group coming in is, wants their ocean view and they want the new look. So it's just starting to happen there, but it's fun because it does have an ocean view. Who'd have thought? Because it's just back along, and you can see all the way up to Palos Verdes. So it's quite nice, and I just love it because it's kind of refreshing. There's only a few houses going, but before you know it, there'll be all of them probably. So.
So that's up and backed up to the Banning Ranch property, right?
It's probably exactly what it is. Exactly. Because I have to take Victoria to get over there, and I really go behind Costa Mesa to get to it. And it's right. And then there's another bridge. If I kept going, I'd go over another bridge over the canal. Then I'd be in Huntington Beach. But you can see the wetlands, across the canal.
Right. Cool. Some cool pockets over there. So for people looking for property. Yeah. So people looking for go ahead. Sorry.
I heard it's a popular neighborhood for you guys. I heard it. I didn't know it was, but everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's that new neighborhood everybody's going for.
Right, because prices has pushed everybody out in Newport, and now Eastside Costa Mesa. I saw a property for $4 million Eastside Costa Mesa. I was like, what?
See?
So, Eastside, and so Westside Costa Mesa is turning into Eastside Costa Mesa, and unfortunately, these poor people are getting pushed all over the place. due to affordability. Only, I think now it's only 17% of people can afford a property in Orange County.
See,
That's
and then whenever they say,
rough.
when they say like, they got to leave low income housing, everybody thinks it's for people that are actually low income. Low income housing is people that make less than $1 million a year. It's the average person,
Right.
and so there needs to be more of that just for school teachers and, people that have regular jobs. So
you imagine making, say, $120,000 a year. There's a family of 4 of you, maybe an animal or 2, and you can't afford anywhere to live here. It's very frustrating.
You'd have to drive an hour. Mm-hmm.
So over the decades, that's obviously why the Inland Empire with Corona and Riverside counties, all those areas, San Bernardino, all those Chino Hills, et cetera, they all blew up so much. Yorba Linda, which was prominent, is now just so big. Anaheim Hill. I mean, we can go on and on, but that's interesting there. And so you have the properties that you have in Laguna Beach. Are you speaking from South Laguna, bordering Dana Point, all the way up to North Laguna, concentrated area? Where you at?
That's what's funny about my projects. They don't go past Nice Place. I don't usually work in South Laguna because of possibly the budget and, the budget and the real estate value was, but I do have one in South Laguna, but, most of my projects are Nice Place. I try not to get up on the 3 Arch Beach Heights there because that's also a budget issue. But I'm usually just along the coast or in the North Laguna, but never in Emerald Bay anymore. I don't work in there, Irvine. I used to, but I'm always kind of in the center of Laguna and slightly north. And then the flower streets of Corona Del Mar once in a while, and then the peninsula. But that's it. I'm kind of concentrated in 3 areas. And that's it.
That's a big territory. So as they say in real estate, that's a big farm to work. So good for you. Good for you. So you mentioned 40 different properties in Newport Peninsula. So you mentioned, I think the 9 are at Peninsula Point, right? The people. Is that Peninsula? So
if you go down to the wedge along East Ocean Boulevard, I've done some remodels on the water there, but I didn't build the home, but I did build 9 homes on that street all at one time, basically. And they're one's at 2105, 11730, 11720, 11708. And I mean, and then 1588 and 1599. And then over at Miramar, I did 2. So it's kind of funny because they're all concentrated in a 3-block run. And then there's a couple closer to A Street. But it was funny because it started in 2015, and all of a sudden there's a couple that moved from Yorba Linda, funny enough, and then their friends moved, and so the 2 couples were my first 2 clients that had moved from Yorba Linda to be in Newport. So that was 2015. It was fun.
7 years, that's awesome. So I take it for some people, like you just obtained some new clients, you started doing remodel on their home. It turned out fabulous, awesome, the way you do things. And then I guess sounds like the neighbors next door who were probably watching you for several months just said, yo, Julie, I need to. I'm sure they didn't speak like that, but they just said, hey, Julie, I want to talk to you about my property. That's pretty much what went down.
It started to snowball because one guy who was Heath Farwell, he's the number 55 for the Seattle Seahawks. He had just won the Super Bowl, and he had a contractor, that local contractor that kind of steered him around. So he hired me to finish stuff and fix stuff. But he hired me because he heard my reputation, and then he saw me framing some walls one day when I thought it'd be fun to learn how to frame one summer, because I'll never do that again, but it was hard. But he was watching me physically work too, and he got a kick out of it. And so he hired me. There's a couple like that. And then the neighbors across the street saw that he hired me. So it started to snowball. So that's why there's so many, because they got it like, oh my God, this chick. And I don't have to have this headache, but it did kind of snowball.
Good for you, Julie. So you mentioned something which I've experienced is you hire contractors that say they're the bomb, they're the experts, and they know what they're doing, and they bloviate up till you're gray in the face. And then, if that makes sense, and then they come and do the work and it sucks. So to be blunt, our pocketbooks have felt that pain before several times. So how do you address with your new, it's not an existing, a new client, to explain to them and to be, blunt? Look, listeners that are hearing right now, I'm just very direct to the point and blunt. So obviously she doesn't speak like this, and neither do I. But having said that, that's my disclaimer. Julie, when someone screws up a job so bad and F's over the homeowner, how do you break things down politely, professionally, and just say, yeah, this job really sucks. That's why I'm here. I'm going to take it over and redo it. And again, listeners, I'm just talking off the cuff, having fun with Julie. She's a great person. And so if you guys can't figure out this is not how we talk, then I can't help you. Go ahead.
Well, there are so many jobs I've taken over when the client was fucked over by the contractor and literally financially screwed over, and the work was garbage. So what it is I go through the whole thing of, I try not to really tell them you should have known this day one with this guy, and there were red flags you should have known. But I go through it from conception to completion of how they hired him, how they may have contributed to paying him in advance when they knew they shouldn't have, and then the fact that maybe he didn't get a permit and get this work inspected because that's where you're at now because he knows he's not going to be checked. But there's all these scenarios, and I go through the whole checklist of what should have been done by him and also involve what maybe they shouldn't have done. But I really do go through the guidelines of our codes of ethics and code laws. And then once I get done explaining to them, they don't feel so bad. And they're like, oh, God, because they really just some people just trust people or just hire them because someone else recommended them, or who knows, or maybe they're trying to do something without a permit. But, I go through the whole process and explain it so clearly, like, oh, yeah, and I always, have an answer because everyone that does something wrong, you could have prevented it if you knew the rules. But most homeowners don't know the rules. That's why these guys take advantage. Construction is the easiest way to rip people off to this day because, it's horrible. But, yeah, I go through the law.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's like when I teach self-defense to people in martial arts stuff. And some of it is so simple that if you only knew, and everyone's like, God, if I only knew that, that's so easy. I go, well, that's why I'm here to explain it to you. But you brought up something key is a lot of people, due to the probably kindness of their heart, and they want to see their home improved, and maybe they were referred to this individual, and then this individual talks up a big game, or maybe this individual did a couple jobs at that property. It did come out well. But that's only what they specialize in. Maybe just that one, say, coating of a sun deck above your house, and knew how to do the fiberglass properly and water coat it, prevention and all that crap. But now they want to talk to you about a front door, and they want to talk to you about replacing kitchen. Right. Well, I'm speaking about my own experience.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So everybody listening, Mr. Situational Awareness martial art guy got jobbed over by a crew. So it happens to everybody. So these guys did a great job on a couple things, and then they were just proclaiming how wonderful and fab they were on other stuff. So we gave them the opportunity, and this is before you and I met. And and the other people that we wanted to do the job, they kept saying they were too busy. And we needed to get this stuff done due to weather, timing. There's a lot of keys that go involved. And so they overstepped their boundary areas trying to do these jobs, and it absolutely sucked. We paid all this money to get things done, and lo and behold, the job effing sucks. And so you get frustrated, and then you have to bring then eventually someone like yourself who knows what the heck they're doing. And so you're paying double, triple what you should have originally done. Yeah. It's just, and then also all that time of strangers in your house, and we're doing with the COVID thing, and all the way down the list.
They took advantage of you because they saw the need and they saw that, and they took advantage, and they should have never done that because their license didn't warrant it. Their resume didn't warrant it. Oh my God, I could go on and on. Yeah.
So bad people. I see that problem a lot. And then I went through it. And then you have realtors like myself who are out there, and let's say you're sitting on an open house of a spec home, and you look at this and you're like, did they put this property up in a week? Because this stuff sucks. And they want they want $3 million for this property. And obviously, as a realtor, everyone listening, I'm being professional, but obviously this is a podcast. So if you guys can't figure it out, then I don't tell you. So we're talking, and you're like sitting on this house, and you're like, oh my God, the faucet's already got there's already a crack in the sink. The handles suck. They're cheap. The cabinets are so flimsy and cardboardy, garbage, particle board crap. and it's already got a crack in the hinge. I'm just really detailed, Julie. And
I can drive by and see it through the windows, but I can see it on the outside before I even have to go in. You can see it a mile away.
It's just amazing. There's a lot of, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great homes popping up here and there, and other people doing what you do, but
here and there, not too many.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's not enough people like you, Julie, that, I mean, you literally have this system, as you said. You literally take it from A all the way to Z, top totem pole all the way down, and explain the process and your experience of all those decades. It's just, everybody listening, if you need a remodel, you want to build a home, you really need to step up your game and contact Julie, because this lady,
unique.
she is so unique. And I referred her to a client who was going through what I went through and explained earlier, and she was really frustrated. So I referred her to Julie, and then she calls me up as soon as Julie left, punches up my number. Oh my God, Mike, Julie is the shit. She is so good. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Is it good? Yeah, she's so good. And I can't believe how just thorough she is and professional, blah, 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 blah. So there's a little kudos to you, but she was so blown away how detailed you were. But here's the key thing for those listening. Julie is a lady of her word, which I love. When she says she's going to do something, she does it. So like the person I just brought up, Julie said she was going to be at this person's house at X time. She was going to have her roofer, her framer, her electrician, her plumber, all her crew there. They all showed up right on time or early. They were all ready to go. They had diagrams. It was just like, it was a complete flip 180. So, Julie, you, after speaking to you for a second time now, and obviously off the camera and podcast stuff, you really do have your stuff together. It's amazing. It's refreshing, and it's nice. It's nice to see, especially in this kind of cutthroat town.
Well, yeah, you know what's wrong? I'll tell you what's wrong too, because it's bugging me too. But there's a lot of talented contractors. Okay, maybe 10, and then me, and then there's a lot of talented architects, and maybe 10, and then me. So there's a handful of talented people. What's ruining it is the guys in it for the money that have no construction background, that have no architectural background, or maybe whatever they do, but they're in it for the money to flip. And those are the ones that are ruining it, doing the shitty quality with contractors and subcontractors from out of town that don't know what they're doing. Because trust me, I know who they all are, because I hear it on the street. Because we hear the gossip, because they're screwing people left and right. They're hiring the worst subcontractors that don't know what they're doing, and the jobs are a mess. So through these people will be out of business, I'm sure, shortly. But in the meantime, they're sucking up a lot of the market and getting unsuspected homeowners and even realtors involved with their nonsense. So it's frustrating, because there's a big chunk of the market taken by those people that with houses that aren't built to quality. So that bugs me. But yeah, bugs me more than it bugs you.
No, I can flip that right around and say, well, it's the same kind of thing with me as a realtor who does it 100% of his career or his daily activity. And you get I'll say soccer dads, not usually people would say soccer. Yeah. Usually people would say the soccer moms, but the soccer dads out there that may know a bunch of people, and they're just in it to make bank on a big deal, but they're not grinding every day. They're not walking and talking. They're not walking and knocking. They're not spending money on lost leader mailers.
They have no credibility.
They don't have a solid reputation, or again, it's stuff like that. And it drives me nuts as a realtor who is a first-time realtor generation, not from here originally, who's out there grinding. You got 60,000 different freaking realtors in this town. And then occasionally the soccer dad pops up and snakes a deal when you may have tried to, hey, you know what, bottom line, it is what it is. That's my fault. I just need to go out and get more business. I get it. So for those listening, I hear you, but it ties into what you said.
It does. And here's the other thing that you said that people should know. You're not from here. You're a solid guy like me. I'm from Iowa. I'm solid. I'm not in this racket of Newport and Laguna and all the wannabes. We're here to stay. But what makes us unique and really special and people love us is because we're solid. We're grounded. We're honest. It's just kind of like we're in it for the long haul.
Right. Absolutely. I think I mentioned to you. Absolutely. Sorry to interrupt. I think I mentioned to you that I've probably lost 3 or 4 deals as a listing agent because I was completely correct and honest about the comps. of the areas, because the typical thing, well, okay, da 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 da, and what can you do, and blah 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 blah, and then you go over the comps, you explain the neighborhoods, and you how thorough you are and knowledgeable you are in the neighborhood, and here's what I feel. You want to ask the person, well, what do you feel, home seller, do you think we should list your property at? And then you get that, well, Mike, you're the expert. What do you think? And then if they won't give you an answer, obviously you got to step up and give the answer. So obviously you go through and pour through, and based on the comps of X amount of years, here's what we feel is reasonable you can get. And this is before it's been such a hardcore seller's market. And so I'd be honest, look, I think we realistically can list your property at this if you want to go for X and see what the market could possibly bear. But if you don't hear anything in 30 days, then it's time to have that revisit discussion about maybe a price adjustment downward. And I literally lost some deals based upon that. And then sure enough, they'll get the other person or the 3 or 4 down the road. They'll finally sell a home. And what do you think the home sold at?
Exactly what you told them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or less.
Or less, but most likely less. That's like me when I give a bid and they don't want to hear it, and then they want me, they grind me. Well, it should be less. I'm like, no, remember this number, because it's going to be this when we're done. And it always is. It always is. It's never any different. It just drives me bananas.
Right. So since we're talking about that, another question. So let's say I may have asked you this last season, but forgive me if I did. But again, let's say you get that Mr. or Mrs. Know-it-all. Let's say Mrs. Particular with the poodle in her arm. I'm stereotyping. And Mr. Uptighty with his collar up and totally prickly kind of person who, boy, am I being a typecaster. But it's a podcast and we're having fun, people. So they think they just know every freaking thing.
Oh, I can't stand those.
Yeah. So have you ever had to literally just say, I'm up and out. Yeah, I can't work for you guys.
I do. And I try to, if they're already signed with me, it's different. But if they're not signed with me and they start to badger me, and I already profile them to know that they're basically control freaks or think they know more than me when they're not, which is their fear factor trying to control. So the perfect example is a guy that's in commercial real estate. He's been fired by 2 architects in a row. And then he calls me thinking I'm going to do all this magic for him because I know everybody at the city of Laguna, and he's all set to hire me. And it's all like all this talk about how great I am. So I did a little background on him and find out he didn't fire those architects. They fired him. And he's cheap, and he's micromanaging, and he thinks he knows more, and he wants to get it at below our cost, all this work because it's a hillside home. So I took my prices and listed them all the way down because no one ever told him all the prices it would take to build this and go through the city. And I listed them A to Z, and I didn't discount anything. But when I threw a $150,000 plan fee at him, I never heard from him again. And that's, I wasn't going to give him a deal because he was begging for one. But I just gave him the prices because no one ever explained it because he was still lost after being fired twice. So he was a red flag because, he was controlling and slightly abusive talking. And, oh, my God, he was weird. But once I explained it, I know other people would have charged him $300,000 but I just told him the facts. And then I never heard from him again. But, yes, there are people where I say, I can't work with you. Goodbye. And I do it by saying my rules, which are contradicting what they want me to do because they're usually asking me to do something to break the rules in the very first conversation. And then I stop it right there. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I see it in real estate where a realtor will take a listing. Look, if you're a listing agent, you're the queen or king, and it's a good position. It's a great position, especially right now and last year to be in, since we have such a tight market, seller's market. Having said that, I've seen realtors just promise the sun, moon, and stars. They discount they already start ruining things by discounting the services, which is stupid because now you just gave away power that you probably needed down the road towards the negotiation time and the close of escrow, and you already put it all up front. So now you really put yourself in a spot and a pickle, and then you're going to have to further do more of that possibly if you have an issue down the road during the inspection period after that. So I totally appreciate what you just said. And I'm the same way. I would just rather walk and get away from that potential problem and let some other realtor deal with it. But God, it can get so stressful.
Yeah,
And
once you start with them, because they're negotiating you down from the minute on, because they're controlling. So you
right,
really can't escape it, because once you give them an inch, you give them one little finger and they're eating your arm. So
right,
it doesn't work. Yeah.
right.
And I can't deal with people like that. And I always see them coming, because the way they talk, I'm like, oh yeah, you big know-it-all. You're in a different business. So yeah.
Right. And yeah, oh God, yeah. I've actually told people, hey, you know what? Let's cross that bridge down the road while we're negotiating pricing. We're in escrow, and now we're dealing with requests for repairs and all that stuff. Let's use that for possibly that discussion later. If they still don't buy it and they want everything up front, I'm walking. Bye. Later.
Yep. Nope. It's a nightmare. I call it my nightmare scenario, because I know how to control nightmare remodels or fix them, but you can't control the human, the client, if they won't stop.
Right.
That's another component. You got to just get away from it.
Right. Absolutely. So most of your jobs, are they homeowners going to direct to you? Are there referrals from people like realtors or other homeowners? What do you think the majority, how your marketing?
Well, what happened is 30 years ago, when I wasn't a contractor and I was doing people's kitchens and just design, I was 90% referral from all the housewives and ladies and homeowners. And then when I became a contractor, I kicked up the advertising and there was more competition. So it kind of changed it. And now I'm 90% they cold call me from the paper, but they still know me because I have an incredible reputation. But I get a lot more people that just call me because, oh, who's this? And that female contractor. So I get a lot of that. So it has almost flipped. But before, I didn't need to advertise. It was 90% word of mouth. Now It's more new people and new blood, because a lot of my old clients are gone or not building or literally gone. So I rely on my advertising and my exposure as a female contractor, which makes it very competitive, because the boys in town don't like the girl in construction. So, it's kind of like they know I can do their job slightly better. So it's tough, but I get plenty of business, and it's my advertising and marketing. Yeah. Now.
Right.
And internet, the internet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you have a very nice website with several of your properties you've done on there, which is good to look at as a referral resource, etc. Yeah, no, that's great. Congratulations. So, anything coming up on the horizon that you're looking forward to besides what you're currently doing, or some things you're going to interview for?
I kind of want to do more, possibly the new construction, even though the market's tight and there's only so many builders out there locally, and there's only so many homes. But I like the new construction. I might do a little more commercial, because I just met with someone about doing a commercial building. And, I don't know if I'll ever pair up with any architects, but if that would, with a bigger project, I might, because there's some wonderful architects, and then just being the builder is kind of fun. But these are the larger homes. So I have ideas to expand the business and do more volume, but less homes, so maybe do 3 or 4 bigger homes instead of 15 smaller ones. But I like where I'm at, and my business has ticked along the same way for 30 some years with the same, clients, and the wonderful clients. Like one of my clients, her grandpa was the first mayor of Newport, which was then called Balboa. So I had the coolest clients that go back to the beginning of time on the peninsula, for example. So those are the kind of people I work with, not the new ones that are moving to town in the flashy new cars and, the nouveau. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the nouveau riche / Vegas. Hey, Newport Beach in some aspects is very like Las Vegas. I at one time was running an alcohol business, and I was traveling. So I was traveling from where I live in Newport Beach, thankfully, all the way to Vegas, and doing a lot of events in Vegas. And I saw a lot. I just would shut my mouth, eyes and ears open, situational awareness, and observe. And I saw a lot. And then the business meetings and deals we had, a lot of crap goes down here in Orange County, specifically Newport Beach, graded down to Vegas, where it's just like, wow. And so you're right. You get a lot of that. So you mentioned you have such a fantastic client base, which, gosh, 30 years. Congratulations. That's an amazing run.
That's fun. 60.
That's outstanding. Congrats. have you had clients? I know you've done some properties. You did that really cool one in Oceanside, that's community I never knew before, which was really cool. And I think you've done Pasadena, but
Pasadena.
So if someone calls from, say, Hollywood Hills, and they got this bitchin' view of Smell A. Sorry, people, I'm kidding.
I know.
So LA, and you're overlooking the whole strip scene down there, and they want you. Are you able to roll up and take your crew up that way? Okay.
I'm going to do it. And I'm actually focusing on networking right now because I know so many people up there that I should be working with on, referring me, because I have these workers and these subs, like hand carvers. Like I have the old school crew of quality guys that some people don't even appreciate. Like when I worked for Disney, I did hand carved wood, hand carved, lions heads and all this stuff. So anyway, I got all these crews that nobody, a lot of the young people don't appreciate that. So I need to stay where the history is and, where the more diversity is. So I'm actually looking at working in Hollywood and LA right now as part of my next move. I could pack up in a second. I could commute or I could get an apartment. I don't care. But the point is that would work because I worked in Pasadena for years and drove home every day. But now the traffic's different. So, yeah. But I've been all the way from San Malo, which is Oceanside. There's a private community there I worked on with nothing but 10,000 square foot homes. And it's gated and private right there next to, right when you get past Oceanside proper, it's right at the end. Anyway, and all the way to Pasadena by the Rose Bowl. So I have no problem traveling because the diversity of client for me is the ones that appreciate the quality and the historical architecture as well, not just the new modern 40-something with the farmhouse. Oh my God, the same thing over and over. It's killing me.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's like, gosh, Cape Cod, Hampton type farmhouse stuff to the specs. So I really appreciate a home that's got some difference to it, maybe some history and some culture to it. I absolutely love that, and that's what's great about LA. There are some really bitchin' architecture up there and some really cool stuff. And even in Long Beach, Belmont Shores, a lot of the great Catalina,
beautiful homes up there. Yeah.
Hispanic culture, really cool stuff up there. So Julie, fantastic. I love you coming back on. I appreciate your time, and especially for Women's History Month, you are definitely at the top to be speaking to. If you want to blast out how people, obviously you're on the internet, but how people can get a hold of you.
Well, you can look me up on my website, which is just my name, Julie Laughton, or you can call me at 714-305-2861.
Awesome. Well, Julie, hey, I appreciate you coming back on. Fantastic. And everybody, call Julie if you have a remodel. Do not go through some of the experience and heartache that I have. You got the stress and the time and the money that you go through. So do it right the first time. Julie, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you, Mike, very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.